Virgo, they thought you'd stay down. That's what makes this their nightmare. Not that they're talking about you. People always talk. Not that your name keeps coming up, names circulate. What makes this their worst nightmare is that the narrative they built about you, the story they sold to each other to justify how they treated you, is collapsing in real time while you're not even in the room to defend yourself. You're just living, doing your thing, building your life, moving forward, not thinking about them obsessively, not plotting revenge, not performing recovery to prove anything, just existing at new level. And that existence, that thriving without them, that success they didn't contribute to, that happiness they didn't facilitate, is destroying the story because the story required you to stay broken, required you to need them, required their absence to devastate you, required you proving they were right to dismiss you, exclude you, undervalue you, treat you however they treated you. But you're not playing your part. You're not staying in the role they assigned you. You're not being the cautionary tale they needed you to be. And now, when they talk about you, when your name comes up, when someone mentions seeing you or hearing about you, the conversation creates discomfort instead of satisfaction, creates cognitive dissonance, creates questions they don't want to answer, creates mirror they don't want to look into. Here's what group of people talking about you right now actually means. It's not everyone, not entire world, group, specific group, people who know you, people who were present during whatever chapter you shared with them, people who have reason to discuss you because you were part of their story or they were part of yours. Could be former workplace, colleagues you left behind, people who stayed when you left, people who witnessed your struggle or your departure or your transformation from who you were there to who you are now. And when your name comes up through LinkedIn update, through mutual connection, through someone mentioning running into you, the conversation that follows creates tension. Because some of them are realizing they underestimated you, treated you like you were replaceable, took credit for your work, minimized your contributions, made assumptions about your ceiling, and now you're exceeding that ceiling somewhere else, thriving in ways that make their current situation look stagnant by comparison. That realization that they had access to your talent, your energy, your loyalty, and they squandered it creates nightmare, creates regret, creates we fucked up conversation they don't want to have but can't avoid. Could be former friend group, people you distanced from, people who didn't value you properly, people who took more than they gave, people who made you feel small or weird or too much or not enough. And when your name comes up through social media, through mutual friends, through seeing you out the conversation, creates discomfort. Because you're happy, visibly happy, thriving with new people who actually appreciate you, building life that doesn't include them. And that exclusion, after they made you feel lucky to be included in their stings, creates questions. Did we push them away? Were we not as good to them as we thought? Are they actually better off without us? Questions with uncomfortable answers. Answers that require admitting they weren't great friends, weren't supportive, weren't reciprocal, took you for granted until you were gone. Could be EX's circle, their friends, their family, people who took sides, people who heard their version of why things ended, people who possibly judged you based on incomplete or biased narrative. And when your name comes up, when X mentions seeing you, when mutual friend reports on your life, when your presence at event can't be avoided, the conversation creates tension. Because you're not destroyed, not pining, not diminished. You're better, happier maybe. Definitely not the mess they were told you'd be or predicted you'd become. And that contradicts the story. The story that positioned X as victim, or as one who got away, or as one who made right choice by ending things. Your thriving suggests maybe they didn't make right choice. Maybe they lost something valuable. Maybe their version of events was self-serving fiction, not objective truth. That suggestion, that possibility creates nightmare for them, creates doubt they don't want, creates regret they're not ready to admit. Could be family members who didn't support you, who doubted your choices, who predicted you'd fail, who withheld approval or help or belief when you needed it. And when your name comes up at family gatherings, you're not AT. In conversations, you're not part of the discussion, creates awkwardness. Because you're succeeding despite their lack of support, thriving without their approval, building life that proves their doubts were wrong and their lack of faith was their failure, not your limitation. And that success, that independence from their validation shifts power dynamic, makes their approval irrelevant when it used to feel essential, makes their opinions weightless when they used to carry authority. That shift is nightmare for people who derived power from your need for their approval, who controlled through withholding, who maintained position through your doubt. Why they're talking is becoming their nightmare specifically. Because talking used to feel good, used to feel like bonding, used to create solidarity through shared narrative about you. Remember when can you believe they thought we were right to? Talking about you was a way to reinforce their choices, to validate their treatment of you, to confirm they were right and you were wrong or inadequate or deserving of whatever you got. But now when they talk, the conversation doesn't create solidarity, creates fractures. Because not everyone in the group still believes the story. Some people are seeing differently. Some are connecting dots. Some are realizing their part in what happened wasn't as justified as they convinced themselves it was. So when conversation starts, instead of everyone nodding along, there's hesitation, there's challenge, there's actually, I think we might have been wrong about them. And that dissent, that fracturing of consensus is nightmare because it means story is dying, means justification is crumbling, means group has to face possibility that they were the problem, not you. Because your success is undeniable, can't be dismissed as luck, can't be minimized as accident, can't be explained away as anything other than they're capable, they're valuable, they're thriving, and we lost that when we lost them. That undeniability creates nightmare because it means they can't comfort themselves with, well, they probably, or I bet they're actually, or just wait until. No, you're good, you're doing well, you're happy. And that reality forces them to face their part in the story. What worst nightmare reveals about what they feared? They feared being wrong about you, about your potential, about your worth, about whether you'd be fine without them. And you're proving they were wrong, that their assessment was inaccurate, that their dismissal was premature, that their treatment was unjustified. Being wrong, especially publicly wrong, especially wrong in ways that make them look bad, is nightmare for people who built identity on being right. They feared you succeeding without them, because your success, without their help, without their approval, without their presence, proves you never needed them as much as they needed you to need them. And that independence, that proof you're capable without them, strips away their power, makes their contribution to your life look optional, not essential, makes their absence look like your gain, not your loss. They feared comparison, feared you doing so well that staying connected to you would have elevated them, feared everyone seeing that you were the valuable one and they were lucky to have access, not doing you favor by including you. And now comparison is happening. People are looking at where you are versus where they are, looking at your growth versus their stagnation, looking at your peace versus their drama. And comparison isn't flattering to them, makes them look like they peaked when you were around and declined after you left, makes them look diminished by your absence, not elevated by it. They feared regret, feared the day when they'd realize they had something valuable and they destroyed it, dismissed it, took it for granted, let it walk away. And regret is arriving, slowly for some, suddenly for others, but arriving nonetheless. Regret that they didn't treat you better, didn't appreciate you more, didn't recognize your value when access was available, didn't fight to keep you when you started pulling away. And regret, especially regret about irreversible loss, is nightmare, is having to sit with, we fucked up and we can't undo it. What you're supposed to do with this information. Nothing directly. Don't reach out to confront. Don't message to say, I heard you're talking about me. Don't perform success to prove anything. Their nightmare isn't your concern. Their regret isn't your responsibility. Their cognitive dissonance isn't your problem to resolve. You just keep living, keep building, keep thriving. Let your life speak louder than any defense you could offer. Don't get pulled back into their drama. They might reach out, might try to reconnect, might suddenly want to catch up or clear the air or apologize. And you get to decide. Are you interested in reconciliation or are you done? Is bridge worth rebuilding or was burning it actually healthy? No right answer, just your answer. But don't let their regret obligate your forgiveness. Don't let their nightmare pressure your response. Resist urge to gloat. Don't post cryptic social media about people who doubted me. Don't perform victory publicly. Your actual success is louder than performance OF success. Your actual happiness speaks louder than declarations about happiness. Let them talk. Let the talk create their nightmare. You don't need to add commentary and process any feelings that surface. You might feel vindicated. I was right. They were wrong. Justice exists. That vindication is valid. Let yourself feel it. You were undervalued. You are proving something, not to them necessarily, but to yourself. Or you might feel sad, sad that relationships ended, sad that they couldn't value you properly when access was available, sad that their regret comes too late. That sadness is valid too. Both can be true. You can be glad you left and sad about what could have been if they'd been different. Or you might feel nothing, might be so far past them that their nightmare doesn't create satisfaction or sadness, just indifference. That's valid also. That's freedom. That's evidence you've genuinely moved on, not just performed moving on. Use their nightmare as confirmation. Confirmation you made right choice, leaving or distancing. Confirmation your growth is real, not imagined. Confirmation you're on right path. When people who undervalued you start regretting that undervaluation, that's evidence. Evidence you were valuable all along and their assessment was flawed. Let that evidence build confidence, build trust in your judgment, build belief that you're worthy of better treatment than they provided. What happens when group's nightmare intensifies? Some will reach out, will apologize, will admit they were wrong, will ask for another chance as friend, as colleague, as whatever, and you decide if you're interested. If apology is genuine and accompanied by changed behavior, reconciliation is possible. If apology is just discomfort management or reputation repair, decline. You don't owe access just because someone finally sees your value. That seeing should have happened before. Some will double down, will get defensive, will create new stories to explain away your success. They got lucky. They're probably miserable secretly. Success isn't everything. That doubling down is protection, is ego defending itself against having to admit error, is rewriting narrative to maintain their position. Let them. Their denial doesn't change your reality, just reveals their character, just confirms you made right choice leaving. Some will go silent, will stop talking about you altogether, will avoid your name, will change subject when you come up. That silence is admission, is acknowledging they were wrong without saying it, is retreat because continuing to engage creates too much discomfort. Let them retreat. Their silence is answer, is evidence the nightmare is real and they can't face it. The power is yours. It always has been. There's a group of people talking about you right now, and it's becoming their worst nightmare because the narrative they built that you'd stay broken, that you needed them, that dismissing you was justified, is collapsing as you're thriving, contradicts their story, and your job is continuing to live well without performing for their benefit, resisting urge to gloat or engage, processing whatever feelings surface and using their regret as confirmation you made right choice, leaving people who couldn't value you properly. Take what resonates, softly release the rest, trust yourself. And listen, you don't need their regret to validate your worth. You don't need their nightmare to prove you are valuable. You don't need their talking to confirm you're thriving. You already know. Your life is evidence. Your peace is proof. Your growth is testimony. Their nightmare is just bonus, is universe's way of balancing, is natural consequence of undervaluing gold while claiming it was ordinary stone. Let them sit with that realization. Let them face their part. Let them experience the nightmare they created by treating you like you were disposable. You keep building, keep growing, keep thriving. Their nightmare, your victory.